Let's go Steinberg's Bill 104, kind of known as card check, which is a union bill to unionize, make it easier to unionize farm labor contractors. The system kind of goes like this. They walk out, they say, you want to be in the union, sign this card. They collect enough cards, they take it to the employer has a say-so, and then the employee or the union has a say-so, and they kind of get together, and then they have an election in secret ballot. And then that's how it goes. But this card check bill, well, once you sign the card, you're under a collective bargaining agreement. There is no secret ballot vote. They've undermined the secret ballot vote. That was vetoed by the governor just recently. However, a new bill came in at like, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday night or Friday night, and that new bill has governor's language and approval on it. So there's pretty much a guarantee that he will sign that bill. And it's going to make it easier for unions to organize labor in the field. So I feel really bad that I'm got my back to you guys. I apologize. Okay, so if you guys have heard me speak before, you tell me that I've learned something really quick. The building in Sacramento is ran by the unions, the environmentalists, and the gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual groups. That's their agenda. At first I thought, being a business owner, I could go up and share with them, you know, hey, when you pass something like this is what hurts business, it costs jobs. And it took me about 2 days to realize that, oh my God, I'm not getting through. I think they're stupid, you know. And then they're not stupid. They're really smart. They just don't care about those things. They care about union issues, environmentalist issues, and gay, lesbian issues, and that's it. And you can tell by the legislation. And these are just a few. I mean, that's 1 day's worth of journal going around, and I only picked out, what do we got here, Rob, like 30 bills, 40 bills, something like that. Let's go to the next page. Steinberg denies funding for public works projects on charter cities. So there's a lot of charter cities that went around and they had local elections, and the local elections said that there will be no project labor agreements, meaning you don't have to use union labor to build something. You can use your money cost effectively, you know, the best bidder for the best quality price, that kind of stuff. So instead of losing each city, because the union was on the run because they had lost several cities, because several cities had agreed not to have project labor agreements, they have passed a bill now. They come to the state capitol with their little minions that they own that carry legislation for them, and they have passed a bill now that says any city that bans project labor agreements will not get any more state funding. That's how powerful they are. The Leno Bill 790, and then this is the video that Mr. President sent around. The 790 bill. This bill was primarily about utilities and rates and you know, ratepayers and things like that. So we found that there was a piece of legislation at the very end of this bill that had some really obscure language, like no way does this restrict unrestricted, unreported funds going to construction management corporation funds. I thought, what is that language doing in that bill? You know, well, this doesn't make any sense. It's not even connected. So then we start researching construction labor management funds, and we put the pieces together with the help of some friends of ours from an organization. So this is what you got, basically. You have unions, or you have a project builder, whether it's a power plant, a Costco, whatever it is, somebody that has to go through CEQA, the California, help me out somebody, the Environmental Quality Act, okay? So the union files all these complaints, and here's all the articles from the LA Times that say thousands of complaints are filed, This one particular project had 186 complaints. The day they signed the project labor agreement, all those complaints disappeared. So you get a project labor agreement that says you'll build your facility under union contract, okay? So all those complaints disappear. So now you're getting through CEQA faster. So this is what happened that day on the floor. We were talking about 790, and I said permission to use a prop. Never in a million years did I ever think I'd ever heard the word denied. People have told me that's never happened in the building before. So as I'm reaching for my prop, he said denied. I said denied. You know, I wasn't sure what was going on. What I was going to bring up is this project labor agreement for the Lodi. I picked one for up here in this area. So you have the Lodi Power Emergency Plant, okay? In this project labor agreement, he's required to pay prevailing wage, benefits, all this stuff for the unions, okay? And all these mysterious complaints automatically disappear. Also in this is a labor management trust corporation, okay? Item number 13, within 10 business days of the first hour covered work being performed by the project primary employer shall contribute the sum of $90,000 to the California Construction Labor Management Corporation. We have other project labor agreements that say 350, 350,000, 200,000. So you follow me so far? So the unions file these complaints under CEQA. They get them to sign this document. This document has a little clause in there that you'll contribute $90,000 to this organization. You track the tax return for this organization, and it's the California Labor Management Trust Fund, and it is the president or the person that's in charge of that is Bob Balganorth. You research who Bob Balganorth is, and he is the president of the California Builders Trades Council, one of the most powerful unions in the state capital. Okay? So when you put all these pieces together, you have extortion by someone who's trying to build something that would rather go through CEQA in 175 days versus 5 years and multi-millions of dollars in lawsuits. They sign this agreement, and under this agreement, they have to write a fat check to this organization that's run by a union guy. So where does the money go? Okay, so then we start tracking where the money goes. The money goes to $1 million to stop Prop 90. Okay, so they are using taxpayer extorted funds made to contribute to an organization that uses it in campaign contributions that are not regulated or reported to the FPPC. Okay, so that was the whole deal on the floor. I was going to prove my point. I was denied. I was shut down. I was ruled out of order. I wasn't allowed to speak. So later on at the kiosk, the speaker, you all know John Perez, he comes up to me. He goes, "Miss Grove, I just wanted to let you know that, we shut your mic off because we think you're insinuating that people in this legislature are bought and paid for by the unions." I said, "Absolutely." And he put his hand out on my arm like this, and he goes, "You're insinuating." I said, "Absolutely." And he takes his arm off, and he goes, "So you are insinuating that people are bought and paid for?" I said, "Not insinuating, flat out statement. Bought and paid for. Bought and paid for." So I make them a little nervous. They were all nervous that day on the floor because, Calderon, he's the floor leader. He comes, the Democratic side, he comes up to me and he goes, "Ms. Grove, you have some problems with this SB 90 bill, and I'm not really liking what I hear." And I said, "What do you want? What's the deal?" And I said, so we got into a conversation, and I was one of the first ones to release my budget. It's your money. You pay for it. If you don't like the way I spend it, call my office and complain. The bottom line, it's your money. You should know what I do with it. So I released my budget. Then they came back and they go, "Release your calendar." So we're preparing my calendar for release because I don't want people to think I'm an idiot, because I go, "Remind me to call Mom on her birthday," because things move so fast up here. So I'm taking out my personal stuff, and so I told Calderon that day, I said, I'm releasing my budget and I'm releasing my calendar because you know what, the media is going to be able to connect the dots of when you vote, you meet with a union organization, you carry or vote for their bill. Perez gives you a bump in your budget because, you've done what you're a good little boy supposed to do. And I said, and if the media has a problem connecting the dots, I'm going to connect it for them. And he got all upset and ran right outside the speaker's office. So there was a lot of tension on the floor that day. And some of it's, I caused some of it, it's fun. So going back to my bad bills list, which I don't know what I said. I got plenty of them. Oh, here it is. I just want to go back to this for just a few minutes. Because, I don't know if you guys really hear all the stuff that goes on. So, and when we were talking about that charter cities and the PLA bans for project labor agreement bans for cities, the actual words that the jockey on the floor says, we're going to punish those cities who ban project labor agreements. You're going to punish those cities that just want to use their money wisely and choose not to go through extortion tactics like this and pay additional funds? You're going to punish them? Anyway, so that was something that was used. The Leno bill I just discussed, and that was the bill that I got shut down on, ruled out of order, that Mr. President here sent out. So late in the evening on Saturday night, we heard AB 101 Perez. Unionization of child care workers. So they have just now unionized 100,000 union dues paying employees.
Guess who they are?
Who they are?
SEIU.
Yes, SEIU. SEIU. 100,000 workers, child care workers. Now let's imagine this, okay? You look at like a community connection, okay? People pay $200 a month returning from welfare back to work, and then the state pays $800 a month. Well, now the state's costs are going to go through the roof because you're paying for prevailing wage, benefits, pension, you've got all this stuff. It forces union dues to be paid for whether they want to be in a union or not. They're mandated to do that. It drives up the cost for child care for low-income families. And let's think about this. For example, a family turns to a grandmother, an aunt, a friend. It would force you to pay prevailing wage to your grandma, your aunt, your friend. I mean, when you think about how stupid this law is, it's outrageous. But unions get what unions want. Get a nice building. Hernandez expands prevailing wage requirements to cover hauling and refuge and public works. So when people hauled off the trash, they weren't supposed to be under a collective bargaining agreement or a union. It expands to that area. So flip the page over. Delio require. Oh, fitted sheets. Did everybody hear about the fitted sheet bill? Okay. So we don't have nothing else to do. We don't have a balanced budget. Jobs are leaving the state at 4.9 employers per week, and we are legislating elastic in sheets and bed sheets. Estimated to cost the industry $4 billion, okay, to replace all the sheets. So the guy gets up and he tells a story, and it's because it's, you know, his mom is a domestic worker, and she's been doing it. She has back problems and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting here thinking that guy has never made a bed. Because how many of you guys would rather throw a flat sheet on and tuck the corners in than fight with the fourth corner of a fitted sheet on a bed?
Amen.
It's like pulling your mattress back, you know? It's outrageous. I mean, the guy's never made a bed before. There's no way. So that bill. The Blue Ribbon Task Force to establish a state bank like South Dakota or North Dakota, the Socialist Bank. You guys got that one? Students that are illegal immigrants that serve in student government get all their money back. AB 887 Adkins, this was interesting to me because I'm an employer. You know, employers can't discriminate against race, religion, age. There's 8 protected classes. The new one is, used to be sexual expression. Since that one was a little weird, they changed it to gender expression. So, what is that? So, you know, I'm on the floor, question the author without objection, because it's always without objection or granted. You know, well, what is gender expression? What is that? You know, Miss Rose being hostile, point of order. I'm not going to be hostile, just what is it? They can't tell you. So my comment was, yeah, I didn't think so, and I'm sure some attorney will tell you someday what that means. Because some employer will have to fight that all the way to the Supreme Court, because some idiot came in and exposed himself, and he says, what's my sexual expression? I have a right to do that. You can't discriminate against me. You know, it's just ridiculous. They don't even think about it from an employer's perspective. Okay, so welfare, we'll talk about welfare. Felons can now get food stamps, or what they call CalFresh. Yeah, it's not food stamps anymore. I sit on that committee, and they tried to come to me and go, can you put this on consent calendar? And I said, what is it? And they said, changing the name from food stamps to CalFresh. It's revenue neutral. It doesn't cost any money. And I said, wow, if I change my policies in my business and I have to recopy everything from my 7 offices, I think it costs money. I think there's an expenditure here. Oh, I didn't think about that. Well, okay, let's think about that before we put this on a consent calendar. So, felons can now get food stamps or CalFresh. Felons can get that. No more fingerprinting. So Ted, you know, wants to go down to Los Angeles and apply for welfare benefits, and he's already got welfare benefits in Kern County. So they say, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Costa, you've already got welfare benefits, so you can't apply because we fingerprinted you. So we sorry, Ted. Okay. So we fingerprinted you. So they say that it doesn't detour enough cost. There's not enough fraud caught by fingerprinting. And I get on the floor and I'm like, hello, have you ever heard of a deterrent? You know, deterrent. You don't go in and get fingerprinted because you know you're going to get caught. So therefore you don't duplicate your application for benefits. Anyways, it's degrading too for the applicant. So they don't want to fingerprint you.